Deep in the heart of a dense forest, where towering trees whispered secrets to the wind and the scent of earth filled the air, a magnificent bear roamed. He was a creature of immense strength, his thick fur shimmering under the dappled sunlight, filtering through the leaves. His eyes, dark and profound, held stories of both struggle and survival. But beneath his powerful exterior lay a soul that had suffered deeply, a soul that had once known pain, fear, and loneliness. The bear's life had not always been free. He had spent years in captivity, trapped in a world where chains bound his limbs and walls confined his spirit. He had been taken from his natural home as a cub, his freedom stolen before he even understood what it meant. The people who captured him saw him not as a living being, but as an object for entertainment, a creature to be controlled and displayed. They forced him to perform tricks, made him endure harsh treatment, and denied him the love and care he desperately needed. His days were filled with hunger, his nights with sorrow, and his dreams with a longing for something he had never truly known: freedom. But fate, in its mysterious way, had a plan for him. One day a man arrived at the place where the bear was being held. Unlike the others, this man did not see the bear as an object of amusement. He did not laugh at the bear's suffering or demand that he perform. Instead, he saw the pain in the bear's eyes, the silent plea for help that no one else had noticed. His heart ached at the sight of the majestic creature, broken and trapped. He knew he could not turn away. This man was a wildlife rescuer, someone who had dedicated his life to saving animals from cruelty and giving them a second chance. He had seen many animals in distress before, but something about this bear touched him deeply. Perhaps it was the way the bear looked at him, as if recognizing in him the first sign of hope. Or perhaps it was the quiet resilience the bear still carried, despite all he had been through. Whatever the reason, the man made a promise to himself. He would save this bear, no matter what it took. The rescue was not easy. The people who held the bear did not want to let him go. They argued, resisted, and even tried to hide the truth. But the man did not give up. He gathered a team, fought legal battles, and did everything in his power to ensure that the bear would be freed. Days turned into weeks, and the struggle continued. But through it all, the bear waited, watching, sensing that something was changing. He did not understand what was happening, but for the first time in his life, he felt a glimmer of hope. And then, the day came. The chains were unlocked, the doors were opened, and for the first time in years, the bear stepped out into the open air. The man was there, watching him, his heart pounding with emotion. The bear took slow, cautious steps, as if afraid that this was just another cruel trick. But when he felt the earth beneath his paws, smelled the fresh scent of the wild, and saw the endless sky above, he realized it was real. He was free. The man had kept his promise. But what the bear did not know was that this was not the end of their story. It was only the beginning. Freedom, though precious, was not something the bear understood right away. For so long, his world had been confined to chains and cages, and now the vastness of the wilderness seemed almost overwhelming. His paws, which had only known the cold hardness of concrete and metal, now touched the softness of grass and soil. The wind, once a distant whisper beyond iron bars, now wrapped around him like an old friend. The sky, endless and open, stretched above him with a promise of a new life. But despite being free, the bear hesitated. He took slow, measured steps, his instincts battling the habits ingrained by captivity. He did not run wildly into the forest, as one might expect from a creature finally given back his world. Instead, he lingered near the humans who had rescued him, his dark eyes filled with confusion. The man who had fought so hard to free him stood nearby, watching with patience. He understood that freedom was not just about removing chains, it was about healing the mind and spirit. And healing took time. The bear was taken to a wildlife sanctuary, a place designed to help animals like him recover from their past and learn how to live again. It was a vast, sprawling land filled with trees, rivers, and hidden caves. Other rescued animals roamed freely, each with their own tragic past but now living in peace. The sanctuary staff ensured that the bear had everything he needed: food, water, safety, and space to explore. But despite all this, the bear remained cautious. He ate the food provided to him, but did not venture far from where he was first released. He watched the other animals but did not interact with them. At night, while others slept peacefully under the stars, he remained awake, his body tense as if expecting danger to return at any moment. The man visited the sanctuary often. Though the bear was now free, the man felt a deep connection to him. He had seen the pain in his eyes, had fought for his freedom, and now he wanted to see him truly embrace the life he deserved. Each time he visited, he would sit near the bear, not too close to startle him, but close enough for the bear to know he was there. He would speak in a calm, reassuring voice, telling the bear stories of the wild, of other animals who had found happiness after suffering. Days turned into weeks. Slowly the bear started to change. He no longer flinched at every sound. His movements became less hesitant. He began to explore his surroundings, sniffing the trees, feeling the water on his paws, and climbing rocks just to test his strength. One day the man arrived and found the bear doing something incredible, playing. It was a simple thing, yet it was something the bear had never done before. He was rolling on the ground, rubbing his back against the grass, and letting out deep, rumbling sounds that could only be described as joy. The sight brought tears to the man's eyes. Still, the bond between them remained strong. Even as the bear began to embrace his new life, he never forgot the one who had given it to him. He would often watch for the man, recognizing his scent and voice. Whenever the man visited, the bear would come closer, no longer afraid, no longer hesitant. He trusted him. It was a bond beyond words, beyond species, a bond built on understanding, kindness, and the shared experience of struggle and survival. Yet despite this newfound peace, something still lingered deep within the bear's heart, something neither the man nor the sanctuary could quite understand, and it would soon reveal itself in the most unexpected way. Months passed, and the bear continued to heal. His once cautious steps had turned into confident strides. His body, once weak from years of mistreatment, had regained its natural strength. He roamed the sanctuary freely, climbing trees, splashing in the river, and enjoying the life he had once been denied. But even as he embraced his new world, there was something he could never forget: the man who had saved him. The sanctuary staff had noticed something remarkable. Every time a visitor arrived, the bear would lift his head and sniff the air, as if searching for a familiar scent. If it was not the one he longed for, he would lower his head and return to whatever he was doing. But the moment the man appeared, everything changed. The bear's eyes would light up with recognition, his ears perking forward, his body suddenly alert with excitement. But as time went on, the man's visits became less frequent. It was not because he had forgotten the bear, but because his work called him elsewhere. There were more animals to rescue, more lives to save. He knew the bear was safe now, in a place where he was loved and cared for. And so, he stayed away longer, trusting that the bear no longer needed him. But the bear did need him. One day, after many months apart, the man finally returned to the sanctuary. He had no idea how the bear would react. Would he still remember him? Would he still care? The thought troubled him as he walked through the familiar paths of the sanctuary, approaching the place where the bear often rested. Then something incredible happened. Before the man even reached the clearing, a deep, powerful sound echoed through the trees. It was a sound unlike anything the sanctuary staff had ever heard from the bear before. A mix of a roar and a whimper, filled with emotion. The bear had sensed his presence. And then he came running. A massive figure emerged from the trees, his dark fur shining in the sunlight, his eyes wide with something that could only be described as overwhelming joy. The bear did not hesitate, did not stop. He ran straight toward the man, closing the distance between them in seconds. The staff watched in stunned silence, unsure of what would happen next. Though the bear had always been gentle toward the man, he was still a wild animal, and his sheer size and power made every movement awe-inspiring. But as the bear reached the man, he did something that left everyone speechless. He stopped right in front of him, looking up at him with those deep, expressive eyes. And then, to everyone's amazement, the bear let out a deep, shuddering breath, almost like a sob. His massive body trembled, and his dark eyes glistened with moisture. The bear was crying. Tears welled up in the man's own eyes as he reached out, placing a hand gently against the bear's thick fur. "I missed you too, my friend," he whispered, his voice filled with emotion. The bear leaned in, pressing his great head against the man's chest in an embrace that needed no words. It was a moment of pure love, of recognition, of gratitude beyond what anyone could have imagined. For a long time they stood there, man and bear, rescuer and rescued, bound together by a connection that transcended language and species. The staff, watching from a distance, wiped tears from their own eyes. They had seen many animals recover, had witnessed moments of joy and healing. But this was something different. This was the kind of bond that only came from true kindness, from a love that had saved not just a life, but a soul. And in that moment, it was clear. The bear had never forgotten his savior, and he never would.